Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And Dave and I, and Lupin, especially Lupin, is so excited to have a guest on with us for this episode. And our guest today is, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mike, or better known as BearwynPlaysGames on Instagram. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for making time to come on to Dice Jesters as well. And we're really excited for you to come on because since the beginning of when we first started our podcast, you were like a day one.
Yeah,
and,
the OG fan.
Yeah, and I was like, of Lupin, of course.
Yeah, of Lupin. Always Lupin.
Of Lupin. And so I was like, what better way than to have a guest who's near and dear to our hearts, especially because I know that Dave's been wanting to meet you. And
Yeah, I know I've seen your name like come up a lot, and I'm like, who is this mystery person that's been following along since the beginning? So, I mean, I'm excited to get to know you a little better because you and I haven't even spoken directly, so I feel like it's time.
Because she's usually on the Instagram, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how did you first get into games? Like, maybe let's start there. What was your introduction?
So it's two things, probably. Like, originally, we all had played games as kids and stuff like that. I've listened to you guys talk about how, or mainly you, Dave, talk about your family and playing board games. That was not my upbringing. Coming from a dad who's a biker and stuff like that, very limited on the gaming stuff. But in high school, did some D&D. We would do like those normal like party games, apples to apples and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't until Riley and I started dating almost 3 years ago that we kind of started the same journey you are taking Julie on with getting into games. And we kind of deep dived pretty quickly after playing Monopoly Deal.
That's not actually a terrible game. I kind of like that one.
We played it a lot, and even at work we play it a fair bit. It's actually, Monopoly is kind of like an ongoing joke to the point that Riley made me a quilt for our anniversary of Monopoly. So that's kind of where it all started. I don't think she realized how deep it was going to go. As you can see this over here, and I have games all over this place. That's about in the last year and a half that I've accumulated 280 games.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's kind of where we started.
Have you learned anything unique about her personality through playing games that you maybe wouldn't have ordinarily found out?
Yeah, she is a very calm, loving person. However, if you get in her way and like Ticket to Ride and like cut her off in any way or form, there's a competitive streak that I never would have assumed she had. And she doesn't curse a whole lot, but when I'm in her way, it comes out. That's about it. But she's very open to things, actually.
Have you found anything out about you through games?
Yeah, well, I used to be very competitive, actually, and I'm not anymore. I'm pretty, I don't mind losing. I lose most of the time, actually. So, yeah, Riley wins, I think, last I looked, like 68% of the time.
Oh. Good for her.
Yeah, no, she's great. And the heavier the game, like the Tall Lacerda games and stuff like that, where is it there? She does exceptionally well at challenging games, which is, I feel like Dave and I are on the same path here because I feel like Julie also shines there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get a little vicious.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious, when couples game together, I think it's a really unique way to get to know each other and spend time outside of just the daily life. But I'm curious with you specifically, how do you describe your gaming style? Like, what kind of games do you normally like?
For me, I don't know if you guys, do you know who Candace Harris is? She's on BGG and stuff like that. But she refers to herself as an omni gamer, so she kind of just likes everything. And I'm very much that way, whether it's card games or anything like that. However, if you put a Euro in front of me, worker placement, that's usually my love. And most games here are probably all worker placement that I love, with some exceptions.
Worker placement too.
Yeah. So worker placement, is that known? So I'm still bad with the lingo, but is that known as your favorite mechanism of a game? Did I get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, you did. I remember when we first talked about Crunchy. That was like a year ago.
All the food terms.
So you've came a long way, especially in your podcast. You're picking up the lingo.
Thank you. So awesome. I still get pretty offended when Dave says orthogonally.
We used that last night.
Oh, that is a trigger word for Riley. She hates it.
I love that. What other words have you noticed that you use in game board culture that you don't use outside of game board culture? So like things like crunchy or whatnot.
I would say honestly, I don't know if you guys experienced this when board games is the first hobby I've really ever had, and it's kind of taken over my life. Even at work, I've used authentically adjacent at work, even when I am like talking about where people are moving or how we're setting things up. Luckily, I have a bunch of coworkers that put up with it and will play games also. But other than authentically adjacent, I was thinking about this the other day. Oh, a rondelle. Like I was explaining like a circuit, an electrical circuit, and I don't know why I was like, it's kind of like a rondelle. Like they didn't get that reference though. So yeah,
tableau. I love the word tableau.
I know tableau.
Yeah, the tableau.
It sounds like mildly pretentious, but I can't think of a better word.
Is the rondelle the circle thingy, like in Bonfire?
Yeah. I've not played Bonfire, but have you played Great Western Trail?
I have.
Yeah, it's you probably know it, but you're moving in a circular path. Yeah, Unconscious Mind has a rondelle in it. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So, what's one game that you've played recently that was awesome?
That was awesome.
I have a few, though. We just played Critter Kitchen last night, actually, which is Critter Master Chef. If you haven't looked into it, where you're cooking for like Gordon Ramsay and you're preparing plates, that's probably that was our most recent one. But my favorite is definitely Unconscious Mind or Moon Colony Bloodbath, which you guys would probably love because it's the Dominion guy.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
you recommended that to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's all about building out your space colony on the moon and the robots basically killing you. So pretty light, pretty quick, but those three are pretty much it. The other one that actually I just played and I have to write a review on it is Artistry. So it's actually sitting on my table. This is a prototype copy that I got sent.
It's pretty.
Like, I love these games like La Fleur is on that side, same company. So yeah, those are kind of what we've been playing lately.
Nice. I love that you mentioned games to me, and it goes over my head. It's not just you; it's Dave too. Dave's been talking about like Civolution forever, and it just kept going over my head. And then you brought it up, and I was like, "Oh, Dave, I think you'd like Civolution." He's like, "I've been telling you about Civolution."
Talk about it every day.
I think we've had that conversation a few times where I tell you about a game, and you're like, "That sounds like what Dave just talked about the other day." Yeah, because I feel like Dave and I have very similar tastes, probably.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Sure. Just looking at your shelf, I see some like Power Grid. I see on there, Concordia. How was your play of Unconscious Minds? Or tell me about that.
So I've played Unconscious Mind solo and 2-player with Riley, and it was one of those games that like I don't know why I never looked into it. Actually, I saw the cover and then I was like, I love it. Vincent Dutrait, Andrew Bosley, I'm in. And I went all in, bought everything all at once before knowing very much about it, other than it was worker placement. It is one of the coolest games I think I've played in a very long time and very excited about. You're basically working with Freud and helping treat patients and publishing papers to solve to fix people's dreams, to make them healthy again. But the art in it's fantastic. All the choices are very crunchy. It's funny because I know Julie likes art and animals. They actually have therapy pets in one of the expansions.
There we go.
And have like cats and stuff that you can use to treat your patients. And I know one of your guys' first games, I believe it was your date night game, Canvas, right? You guys did that once for a date night. They have the little cellophane cards that you put over the dreams that kind of distort the image that are super cool. Everything about it's wonderful. Even the solo's great. I would love to play it with more people though. But yeah, it's a awesome. Great game.
There's very few games where I see the cover and know very little about the game, but just know that I need it. And this is one of those games. I saw the psychology theme. I studied a little bit of psychology in college, but it's something I really love. Yeah. And knowing that there was a Nightmares expansion, that automatically, and seeing the artwork and everything, I don't even know what the gameplay entails. but I just know that it's going to be good.
It is. I don't want to say sandbox game by any means, but there's a lot of mechanisms in it, but they all flow very well, and it kind of makes sense. I love games that like the theme it makes sense to you when you're playing it, because some games are so abstract that like you can't tie it in very well. But it's a great game.
I love trying to tie the theme in to when I'm explaining a game. It's always fun.
Well, one of my favorite things that you guys talk about is in your podcast is, and it comes to Dominion, is like the theme behind it and how ridiculous it is for just a card game. Like, so that's one of those things you guys do that I think is hilarious, because I would never make those connections, and I feel like I skip those a lot. And like, oh, we're doing this here, and that doesn't make any sense. So
I almost feel like the more you get into games, though, you just kind of skip that step, because it's like, oh, this game is kind of like A, B, and C, and that's how you teach the game, and then you kind of miss that. Hey, let's talk about what we're actually doing in the game, and I love the backstory about it.
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite one is the craziest one, and I can't believe I'm glad I never skipped it. It's called Leaping Lemmings, and it's about genetically altered hamsters that are jumping off a cliff. All for
there we go. Yes.
And like, I would never have, and it's a GMT game, which is usually war games. So it's ridiculous.
That is not a publishing company I would think of coming out with the title.
Not at all.
We're going to look that up.
Because it has hamsters.
Yeah. We're going to look that up. It sounds incredible.
1 second. Yeah.
Oh, look at the little hamsters there.
Yeah, and you're hiding from these eagles. It's crazy.
That sounds like a game we would make.
That sounds like a game you would make.
Do you want to talk about a game we've played recently?
Yes. We played Divorce-Arredom?
Arboretum?
Oh, Arboretum. I mean, that probably causes divorces. Also one of Riley's favorite games.
Really?
Yeah,
Does she
Riley
really?
loves that game. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's very few games that are like I'm going in, I'm gonna win. I just assume she will. And I don't know, Dave, if you've had this experience in that scenario, like you are spending all this time, you learn the game, you set up the game, and then you're walking Julie through the game, and then you lose the game because you're so like you want to make a good experience.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why am I 80 points behind her? Yeah.
Yes. For Arboretum, he was all like, oh, this causes divorces. And I was like, why? And then we played it. And I was
brutal.
like, I don't see it unless like I'm just here in Dave's game.
I was going to say, I feel like I hear that is the meanest game ever made. I feel like most people think Arboretum is just straight mean. Yeah.
I wasn't playing super brutal because you have to balance building your own stuff out, but then having cards in your hand to be able to gain rights to score each tree, and you can just hoard the cards. It's kind of like Lost Cities is a little bit like that.
Well, maybe that's why I'm good at it, because I hoard things.
Again, every game is like a different layer of your psyche that peels back the onion.
For teaching games, because you had said that you like want the experience to be good, do you read the rulebook? Do you go on YouTube? Like, how do you learn to teach the game?
You guys were just talking about this the other day, and I was thinking about this. And personally, for me to learn, I need to read the rulebook. 100%. I'm a rulebook guy. And then after I understand the game, I will watch like a playthrough video of how someone's teaching it, because my brain and Riley's brain don't always connect on how I explain things. So I like to get that other person, and then I kind of mesh the two together to make it easier. Because Dave, you'd probably know more. Have you like Root and like how that rule book is written, or at any kind of war game? I love that structure, and that's how my brain works. Riley's brain does not do that. She wants to know the end goal, how to make points, and then like the basic movement, and then she just goes.
Team Riley.
And I'm like, no, I need to know the whole path. I read the FAQs. I read everything in the book.
Oh, yes. You print out the BGG player guides that are little cheat sheets and everything.
For some of games, yeah, 100%. I forget what it was Food Chain Magnet. I had to do that for my boss.
I love that you play games with your boss. I feel like that's a whole level that we need to unlock.
I feel like I'm on this adventure with Riley and my boss, and they're competitive with each other. Like, he'll be like, can I see the score sheet and see what Riley got? And, like, they're more competitive with each other than me with either of them.
So I know that Arboretum gets a rap for causing fights, but what game have you guys seen that you guys are like, no, I want to win? Or because you're like, no, I'm...
The game with Riley is 100% Ticket to Ride. I don't know what about that game, just laying those tiles, but if you intersect her wrong, trying to keep it PG. But for me, the only game that I've ever been competitive on is called Reef Project. It's a board and dice game, and it's about saving the coral reefs in, like, the Bahamas.
Sounds brutal.
And I don't know what it was about this, like, very, like, conservative, like, help the environment game that I was like, no, I need to win. But that's literally the only game I'm like that with. Yeah. What about you guys? What's your competitive game? Well, not Julie. Dave, what's your competitive game? I feel like she's always competitive with you.
Thanks, Mike.
What's the one?
You work for Castles of Burgundy.
Oh, I wouldn't say the game itself is naturally competitive, but that was my game. I was so good at that game. And then you beat me. It was like we played so many rounds in a row and you kept winning and winning. It was like, I just felt this anguish wash over me. That was... It was crushing to be beat by my favorite team.
I totally get that. Especially, like I said, especially when you take all the time to learn and train and teach them, and then they're just like whooping you every time. Yeah.
I would say the one that is probably more intense than that, though, is probably like Le Havre, because that one is such a long strategy, and then when I mess up a turn in the early to mid game of that, and then I see you pull ahead and get all this money, and you're like, I don't know what to do with all this cash. I've got all these buildings, and I've got my luxury ship, and got my meat and my leather, and I'm going to ship all these goods, and then I'm going to use your building that you really needed. I'm like, I can't get ahead. I've got my loans. I've got to feed my worker. It's like ramping up every round. And that's the one where it just, at the end of the game, I'm like sweating. I don't know what just happened over the last hour or so, but that one is intense.
By the way, thanks for doing a Le Havre 10x10, because I finally found a copy and I freaking love it. I've only been able to play solo, but it is such... I don't know if I like the solo more than a Tiwa, but it is a very, very good game. So I'm glad I found that. So
good.
That's
awesome. And thank you too, because you had recommended like maybe we wait instead of playing like back to back to back how we normally did. And so for like season 3, that's what we've been doing, is taking our time with it. And I feel like you're right, like on the dime for it. Is that what people say?
Honestly, I don't remember anymore. I just say what feels right.
I don't understand how to say like English sayings. So I get whatever. I don't know. On the dot.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Right on the money. There we go.
There you go.
For it. So it just makes it like more in depth, I would say. It helps get our thoughts together, and then it gives Dave time to figure out his strategy.
Yeah. We've been playing these, we call them like palette cleansers. We'll play a few rounds and we'll play something else, like either an old game or a light card game or something, and then come back to it. But it's like a few days on, take a couple day break, come back, and it just lets it breathe, better appreciation.
I was impressed with your first 2 seasons and the fact that you guys were just turning and burning those games like in a weekend. And some of them I'm like, I can go to a convention and I'll play games for 12, 13 hours straight, but it's different games. It's not the same game. And you guys are just like staying up till 5 a.m. playing 5 tribes. That's
I woke
too
up
much
the next day not even knowing what happened. It's like I blacked out.
It's all the same game.
Dave says I'm AI.
Yeah, like a simulation. So what would you say? What is your favorite game of all time? I'm really curious about that.
So, favorite game of all time is 100% Tapestry. I will preach that from the heavens. Like, I love Tapestry. It was my first big box game. It has so much variety. The quality there. I love Stonemaier games in general, but that is by far my favorite. Although, in the last 6 months, there's been a lot of games that kind of float up there with it. Any Stonemaier game, but also one of the big ones. Have you guys played any Vital Lacerda games?
Not yet, but that is coming someday soon.
Which one are you thinking about doing?
Yeah, which one?
It's a surprise.
Because he had a really good recommendation when the whole Wingspan being late. He was like, maybe I would have liked it more if it was closer to the beginning, and then we waited. The birds.
Because I love all of them. Escape Plan is my favorite. These three, like that one there. But the Gallerist is one he made. But he also just came out with House of Fado, and it's the same sort of thing. Gallerist is you're basically like a curator or a gallerist, and you're trying to get customers to come buy art and stuff. But in the House of Fado, you're actually Portuguese House of Fado, which is a restaurant bar, and you hire musicians into it. And you're trying to promote them so that you get better customers and critics and stuff like that. Worker placement. This, in my opinion, is much smoother and streamlined compared to the Gallerist. This would be a cool place to start if you haven't ever done a Vital Lacerda game. But this is one of my new favorites and my first Kickstarter I've ever backed.
Oh, it's okay, cool.
So, yeah. But definitely very, very cool one. And if not that, Vinhos has been in my top 5 for over a year now, which is another very, very cool thing. Very different than viticulture, because I know you're not big on the viticulture there.
Okay, because we did it backwards. Okay.
It happens. Some games you get into and you try to make it more complicated than it is, and sometimes you expect more and then it's not that, and it kind of ruins it for you. Sometimes it's the order you learn a game, and because you think it's more complicated, and then it's not what you expect it to be, so it's not a good experience. And it was the same with Everdell and my boss. He went into it thinking it was going to be like some heavy Euro type game, and it's not. It's not that at all. It's very straightforward, and then he wasn't a big fan of it. So, yeah.
Okay. Was Everdell the one with the cute like pebbles that go up the stream? Is that Everdell?
No, that's River Valley Glassworks. Everdell is an Andrew Bosley. I don't have all these games just here prepared. It just happens to be.
Oh, okay. Do you build the tree in that one?
Yeah, that's the tree building one. But yeah, he was trying to make it like Castles of Burgundy, and it's way easier than that, more straightforward. I wanted to know Dave's Grail game.
Ooh, I don't know what that means. Could you tell us what Grail game means?
It was kind of like Septima for you. Like that was the game that you were really hyped about that you didn't have. Or for me, it was Food Chain Magnet. So like the game that is like, I want. I know you just got Civolution.
Everyone was happy for you.
Yeah. No. So traditionally, Bruges was one of my Grail games, and I finally found a copy of that, which we loved playing together. Blue Moon Legends was another big one that I found like a really reasonably priced copy on eBay, and we've played that a few times. It's awesome. But the one that I don't have that I'm like, man, is Roads and Boats. I really want...
I'm with you.
Yeah. Like, there's something about the very, like, I don't know, just cartoonish art. Like, it seems very homemade. Like, these guys made it in their basement and just put together what they had to try to make this game. But they cared more about the game design and making this really cool economic logistics game without really caring about how it looks. And there's just something so heartfelt about that. Like, this is a passion project.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, I don't know, some people criticize the art and the look of the game, but I'm like, I see just originality there. I don't know. There's something about it. I just really want to play it.
All Splotter games, I feel the same way about. Like Food Chain Magnet, it has horrible art. It's not good. But the same thing, it plays well. It's well thought out. Everything makes sense together. And then production was the second part. So yeah, but I'm with you. Roads and Boats, that's another one. I've been looking and trying to find a copy, and I don't hear anything even about a reprint. So yeah, one day.
Yeah.
I've seen it. It looks big. Big size.
Yeah, the box is huge.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say it's bigger than Indonesia or some of the other ones.
Yeah. We'll have to go in like an awkward spot on the shelf.
Yeah, we'll have to get creative with storage space.
No, you just start stacking upwards. Like I'm like maybe 5 inches from the ceiling right now.
I love that. Do you have like a step stool to get them, or do you just be like, let's go, let's just grab it?
Oh, I just stand on the couch and then reach.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Nice meeting you, Dave and Julie, both.
I know, it's been so nice meeting you. So if you would like to find Mike on social media, because he also does review games and he takes pictures of the games as well, you can find him on Instagram. His Instagram is BearwynGames. I always enjoy seeing his profile picture change. It always has like the same theme, but it will fit like the holiday or just like the season. He's great. He's great conversation. If there's giveaways, he'll help you know about them, especially if you have one that you're looking for. Yeah. Like Civolution was a big one. He was like, get this one for Dave. And I was like, but yeah, if you would like to see any of our content, we are Dice Jesters on Instagram as well. You can find us on Patreon too. So our Patreon is Dice Jesters. And I don't have an outro for today, but may the Jester's laughter guide your way.